Hello, good morning, everyone. I hope you can see us and hear us.
Hello, good morning.
We are live at the TRA, and we're going to give you a training today on payments and deliveries. Now, a bit about ourselves. I'm Julia from Creative 971, and this is Nico. He's the co-founder of the company. What we're doing is predominantly e-commerce, so we're going to flush you today with a lot of information on payments and deliveries. Anything that you feel you have questions on, you do have a comment section, a chat section. So just feel free to drop your comments, drop any concerns, anything that you want us to highlight or to share. We see we have a couple of people live already. If you would like to let us any more comments or any questions that you have before we start, anything that you want us to maybe dig a bit deeper, anything you feel you need to learn on payments in e-commerce or on deliveries in the e-commerce sector, then leave your comments now. You have the advantage of being an early attendee. So let us know, and we'll just take a minute or two and then dive into the presentation. And we're just going to switch. You will be seeing us, you'll be seeing the presentation. Any questions, any points that we have to probably visually explain or do a quick Q&A, Nico and myself, we're going to do that. And yeah, so you'll be live participating.
Yeah, if we look to the left or to the right, it's just because we have multiple screens here and want to get all of the questions right. And yes, so about us, we are a Shopify agency, which is called Creative 971. We are focusing on Shopify Plus, which is the enterprise version, and definitely would like to answer all of your questions. Whatever comes across might be Shopify specific or more specific in regards of shipping or really like the delivery and the payment sector overall in e-commerce. So we try to support you on those questions as well. And yeah, as Julia said, we would then most probably start, as I see we are ready to start and can go ahead within the next minute.
Yeah, so the interesting thing what we're trying to do here is a bit of like out of a situation, out of possibilities. So this event or this webinar is about a beginner level, right? So we're teaching you and letting you know a bit of what are the basics to know, what should you be knowing when it comes to e-commerce, who are the predominant players in the market, what you should be aware of when you're choosing your delivery or payment provider company. So it's all catered at the moment for the UAE. So this presentation will help you to smoothly understand and run your e-commerce business in terms of payments and deliveries from the UAE. All right, so as you can see, the topic is payment deliveries for your e-commerce business. This session is going to be recorded, so meaning anytime later on you have any questions in terms of comments, you can log in, review anything, and you can as well see the presentation as an option. And at the end of this presentation, you will have an actually assessment questions before you can obtain your certificates. So you have to pay proper attention and make sure you get all the points covered. If there is anything, please do let us know, right? We're here to answer your questions in terms of payments and deliveries for the UAE. All right, as I said, we'll be starting a bit with an introduction. This introduction is just a brief introduction to give you more of an idea of why Nico and I are doing the presentation today for you and what's behind us as a company or as individuals and what's behind us and the relation of the TRA. Then we'll be sharing with you the input on payments, like what is an e-commerce infrastructure, what is a payment gateway, what are certain points that you should know, how does a payment gateway function, and just a few statistics given from the UAE that might help you to tune your website or your payment flow.
Yeah, and then at the same time, we will talk about the payment gateway is definitely available, what Mr. Mohammed already asked in the live chat. So we will talk about the possibilities, how you can work with them on the Shopify platform and overall, and what may be some changes and overall increase into Saudi Arabia and the possibilities to sell in the market as well. And then we will cover more about the deliveries itself. What are delivery partners within the UAE? Which ones are having a very nice integration to Shopify already? What are the ones, how you can expect to work with them? And a little bit technical. I would say we are not too much technical today. It's more about awareness, how it should be structured, how the data should flow overall, and what are the real trusted partners if we come to a Shopify integration and the Shopify overall e-commerce experience. This is what we would cover. We will talk a little bit about inventory control management software, which is maybe like a POS, which we're talking about inventory management as well. And I think we have a very good amount of time which we cater to QA and which we cater to just answering really the information required to all of the watchers today. And yeah, I would say we will directly start now.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, we're quite interactive, right? So you just share a couple of comments. As we mentioned, we have, mashallah, a lot of screens here, so we can always cross-check. Now, the first part and the first slide that we're going to show you is, as I said, a bit more about ourselves, where let's say you can put a background to us. Nico and I are co-founders of the company called Creative 971, which is an e-commerce only agency that supports businesses when building Shopify Plus websites, retail predominantly focused, but we're looking as well at F&B sector and different opportunities within the market. So we're a startup ourselves. We're now in the third year of operation. In 2017, we actually had gone into a closer relation with the TRA, which is where you're currently listening the channel. We signed an MOU in 2017 to boost the e-commerce within the UAE, to provide and help solid e-commerce knowledge to spread in the country, and as well, especially to help you in the position of beginning your online website and knowing facts that you should know, knowing the certain steps, and helping you and empowering you at the same time in terms of growth. Because in the end, you starting your own business, you want support at some point, but you need to see a growth within the company. So for us, very important that you're actually delivering and not only planning. So we help you shortcutting information and get the most essential information that you want. All right, for anyone who's in the beginner stage and probably has heard a lot of e-commerce terms or wording, e-commerce itself is identified by electronic commerce. So commerce as, for example, selling, or commerce as a classical offline retail business as we're knowing it probably from the Dubai shopping malls or any certain malls that you might have visited. Now, seeing that all the trend of commerce, all the trend of going digital and electronical is also processing payments online, having the entire retail experience digitalized. So that includes the marketing, that includes the delivering of messaging, that includes as well your customer approach and as well your customer engagement to continuously drive traffic to your website. Now, in terms of the next part, it's just going to be a bit of an information because, as we said, we are Shopify and Shopify Plus experts in the country. And our position is a bit more like in a leading role. So if we're looking at Shopify itself as a platform, it's the world's fastest growing e-commerce platform and number one platform for SME businesses to start their business. Shopify Plus catering to the enterprise and is growing, massively growing to become the leading platform in terms of enterprise platforms. So we're talking about both, but what we want to show you and what we want to give you a background on is also to understand that Shopify itself is not only a platform that can help small businesses to grow, but it's very scalable, and it will help you over over a period of growing your business to adapt very quick, to be fast and cost efficient. So hence Shopify.
Let's make a small question. Is someone using Shopify already? If you just could put a comment there, and maybe you have specific questions about Shopify, feel free to ask. We'll answer them in the Q&A as well. Yeah, basically we have from most of our events, or when we are talking about a payment gateway or online payment gateway, most of the people, they do not understand why a payment gateway might charge additional charges. So, I mean, it's very easy to explain. Let's say if you go to a restaurant and you would like to pay by credit card, right? They will bring you a small MPOS machine, and they will definitely swipe your card, because they offer that service to make it more convenient for their users or for their visitors, basically. And this will work exactly in the same way, but we will connect it to the e-commerce website. So if you offer the payment as a credit card payment, or you will provide even MX payments, it works in the same way. The restaurant will pay XYZ rate amount to the provider, and the same you would need to provide the XYZ amount percentage to your online payment gateway provider in order to offer that solution for your shoppers or users. Let's say you would use a cash on delivery, which you definitely should use as well. You won't have those charges applicable, because they're only applicable based on a credit card payment, because it needs to be processed and prepaid. And this is basically the easiest way to explain what a payment gateway is and does on your website, and why there are additional charges as well. If we're looking at the next slide already, I just see it that we will go further. Yes, this is just what I explained. So basically, if a customer would like to pay by credit card, it's the same whether it's the website or on a retail store or a pop-up shop. You would definitely need to have a gateway, like a payment gateway in process. It will provide you the transaction to the payment processor, and will send you the approvals back to the shopper or to the user. That's why, I mean, if you have you should have a registered business which you are liable to subscribe to one of the payment gateways, because they need to make certain audits. They require your trade license. They require to see way more information, because this is really about business operations, and we need to stay true to those based on the country where you are. So definitely we require a license, and you would require to have a setup and privacy policy, terms and conditions definitely in place. They would need to be visible on your website in order to apply for one of the payment gateways. Let us just go one further. So if we are just looking at the statistic.
Yeah. So if we're looking at statistics, payment gateways within the UAE, you can see at the moment, or maybe probably a bit more, the last time we got official statistics, we had around 9.3 million people living in the UAE. And UAE includes all the Emirates. We're not specifying only Dubai. But what's important, and what the numbers can probably show you here, if we have around 9.3 million within the UAE, and we have 8.7 million people that use the internet on a daily basis. So if you want to see those statistics, there is a Hootsuite.com. If anyone has heard of the Hootsuite like auto scheduling tool that releases statistics every year. So they must hopefully release their statistics for 2019 in I think February or March. It was last year. What's important to see here, and to come back to the point, is you see the potential of online purchases is massive. right? We have a huge penetration online, and as you can see, most of the people use the internet on a daily basis, and it's growing and growing. Many people have different devices, different phones, iPads, whatsoever. So the best way to access your clients or your potentials is probably through the internet. Not saying the only way, because we have to always consider that we're also looking at a traditional retail experience, like a mall culture, as so to speak, as we have in the UAE, or in all the GCC countries. Actually, we're more mingling and more like socializing in closed rooms rather than in an open area. So to give a bit of a background, I'm from Germany. So if I go to Germany, I probably can walk in the city, open air in the streets. I can sit outside in a restaurant or in a cafe. Whereas in Dubai or in the UAE or in all Arab countries, we tend to do that only in the winter time, right? So it's only very seasonal. But hence the malls have become more and more of an important role. And the role is definitely there. So don't underestimate having a small store, a kiosk, a retail location, and physical location where people can interact with you. It's not only about the online experience that is important.
Yeah, especially if we talk about this experience, most of the users or the merchant, actually most of the merchants, they forget, because it's not only your e-commerce or website, it's the overall experience. Let's say if we're coming to the delivery, you should definitely choose a partner which is very, very trusted and comes in a XYZ manner and is on point. Because let's say if your delivery gets rescheduled and you need to run behind to get the people on the phone, it's an experience which will come back to you as the brand, because you're selling that. Most of the people, yes, they are aware it's a delivery partner XYZ, but still it's an overall experience what you need to take care. So it's not always maybe about the best rates, or sometimes it's more about how fast could you deliver, how solid is the delivery, how is the packaging. Like, I mean, usually, even if we come to payments, or how long does the process take, or is it convenient, is it easy on a refund, like, I mean, all of that needs to be considered, and it will overall provide a better experience, or a shopping experience, especially in the culture what Julia said, because it's important to be present, to interact, and to provide the trust to your shoppers as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, needless to say, as I mentioned, we have so many people accessing from the mobile. If you're looking at the statistics, it used to be, I think, 65 or 70% just a year, 2 years back. And if you're looking at the numbers now, we did actually on purpose a split of Samsung and iPhone here. 80% at the moment are on a mobile access on your website. There is different reasons why, right? If we're looking currently at the situation of the economics, of the demographics that we have here, we're just very, very busy running around every day, but we always hold our phones in the hands. We have a very, very large and good coverage of Wi-Fi networks that are sometimes free or open Wi-Fi's, which help to access on the phone even faster. So all of this leads obviously to quickly browsing, quickly checking what's the news, especially the social channels like social media, predominantly Snapchat or Instagram, are very, very popular. And out of that, you can definitely derive that a lot of marketing from these platforms direct back to websites, or help people find their locations or the nearest restaurant in downtown, or wherever they might be commuting. So it's just a very helpful tool. But more and more becomes also a helpful tool in terms of paying online. I mean, you will probably know, most of you have probably bought a food online through one of the various apps or websites, or probably bought an airplane ticket or a cinema ticket online, right? These things are fairly usual, but more and more, if we're comparing it to the rest of the global average, we have more and more users on mobile when it comes to retail purchasing. So even considering that your mobile experience, your website design, or your whatever like template theme or whatever you're deriving your website from, it needs to make sure that you're very on point in the mobile version, and it will help you increase conversions as well. If you're driving the traffic well, people would want to see no interruptions, no breakage of pages that leads to immediately not having a trust, and it can just help you a lot. We did as well one of the previous trainings on design trends, so you probably can find that, and which can share you the link as well if you like. Part of what I said just now, if we're talking about mobile penetration, we're talking as well about the online payment methods. So you have to know that still cash on delivery is very, very predominant in the UAE. You can basically like catch yourself if you're thinking, when was the last time you have probably ordered from a website and paid with a credit card or paid with a debit card? It's most probably, if you're trusting the website, right? So it's most probably when you ordered food, probably when you ordered an airline ticket, because I have to admit, I never do that cash. I always do that with a card. But if you're looking at any other payment, if somebody recommends you a website of a friend, for example, and they say, like my friend recently did, Julia, my friend, she launched her new website. Would you go check it out, and if you like something, I'll give you a voucher or something, and you can save 10 or 15% if you pay something online. And I was checking the website, and yeah, probably I'm not the best person to check e-commerce websites with having all this knowledge in mind, but naturally removing myself out of the profession. But I would probably, if I don't know the website in the UAE, mainly opt for cash on delivery rather than choosing the card payment. And that has a lot to do with brand exposure and trust. So in order to increase your transactions online on card payments, you have to offer certain different options of subscriptions or different approach of trust.
Yeah, definitely. So this is one of the points what you need to consider. Definitely what Julia mentioned. I mean, usually you can take that a little bit away, because there were so many case studies or actually out there how business or e-commerce business increase their trust by offering like a free consultation. Because usually what most of the people might be not willing to maybe check out or use a credit card might be the version of not understanding if it might be legit or if they could trust. So there was one case study which they provided a free telephone service 24/7, and it was funny because most of the people, they just wanted to talk to a person, even though if it's a 1 minute, and even they were offering they would be happy to pay it by cash on delivery or any other bank transfer. The shopper or the user then decided to actually go ahead with the online payment. So definitely those points should be highlighted and should be considered as well, because overall it's a trust in you and your brand as well. I would say now we're coming to a more interesting part, is even coming back to the questions. I mean, those are the payment gateways which are available within the UAE. I mean, there are multiple more, but at the moment we only cover the ones which are most likely to work with Shopify or directly with Shopify together. We need to say that checkout.com, not to compare with to checkout, it's a different company. Checkout.com is the headquarter in UK. They have a branch over here, and very, very professional and amazing. We need to say that this payment gateway is the only payment gateway so far which is fully integrated into Shopify, which means here is no additional pop-up or redirect required. You directly can fill in credit card details on checkout page. This is definitely a benefit. And if we take that further, let's say we're talking about multiple plugins or applications which are available within Shopify. Let's say you're talking about maybe a recurring, right? Or you're talking about split payments or certain different conditions which you require to have an additional software. Most of them, they're working with the Shopify payments, and some of them working with checkout.com. So on those ones which are working with checkout.com, you have definitely access. So far, Shopify payments are not available within the country, but definitely this is something which we're interested as well to work on that and get this done. There are no timelines given yet, but checkout.com would be the first variant with we as an agency refer as well. But to be honest, it's totally up to you whether you look to pay for it, PayJapps or Teller and Tap. Pay for it, yeah, definitely. I would say this is the biggest trust and the biggest point which you actually can go forward. Again, I'm talking only about the technical integration parts of Shopify right now, not who might be the company behind. Pay for it so far, it's a pop-up. It's like a redirect directly on Shopify. It works perfectly fine. It's just depending on how you would like to navigate your operations. PayTabs, it's exactly the same. It works very well. We have multiple clients working on both of the platforms, whether it's PayTabs and Payfort. Teller, as I understand, the last time that we had integrated with them was a very smooth setup as well, but a redirect page as well. If we're coming to Tab is actually quite interesting because it's a payment gateway in Kuwait, and they cater Kuwaiti dinars and as well all of the other currencies which might be applicable. And let's say if you're looking for a solution to get Kuwaiti dinar or Bahraini dinar or whatever onboarded and a currency which might another payment gateway is not opening you at the beginning, whether maybe you don't have the branches there, maybe you don't have the setup right, Tab would be an option which we definitely could refer. All of the payment gateways, what you have seen now or what you actually see, we have worked with them, we are partner with them, and I could definitely tell you one of those will definitely support and help your needs. Most of them you just directly need to reach out, talk to them, and then maybe negotiate on your fee, what you need to pay, what we have discussed prior. To be honest, it depends on the volume. So if you're in high volume transactional business on a credit card already, you have your reports and the history, and they will definitely come down with the rates. Yeah, all of them, as said, they are on Shopify. Might be that we have multiple different ones, but we don't highlight them because it's not 100% working. Let's say what we haven't highlighted here is CyberSource. It's directly a payment gateway which fully integrates as well. Yeah, and I'm just checking. We've just received another question. Could you please highlight the companies that have business set up here in the UAE and provide local support? Yes, Payfort does. PayTabs, they have a regional manager as well. I don't know if they have the office set up yet. Tab was actually looking to open up their office here as well. So far it's Checkout, Teller, Payfort. They have their support here. PayTabs, they have a support person here. I don't know if they opened the office yet, and the same for Tab.
But all of them, actually, Mohammed, to come back to your question, all of these companies that we mentioned here are approachable and responsive for our region, and they have knowledge and customers in this region, which just makes things much easier in terms of processing or checking, etc., so forth. We assume that your business is planned from the UAE, so predominantly either US dollar or dirham checkout. Some of the payment gateways, like for example, Tap is also offering Omani Riyal and Kuwaiti dinar checkouts. So that, for example, PayTabs and Teller are not doing, as I believe was the latest stage when we talked to them. So there's just a few tweaks here and there. And as Nico mentioned, it's always good to know who is the one to approach. Possibly the ones that we personally can say that are working very, very well is, if possible, opt for Payfort or for Checkout. These are the ones that are just working very smooth. But as Nico said, for all of them, they have their advantages and disadvantages to your situation.
Let's say checkout.com is more the SME or enterprise payment gateway. It comes with a very amazing support as well. But the onboarding might be different because, as I understood the last time, they're looking for established business history. Let's say you're a new startup and you would like to focus on Kuwait because it's a very fast-growing sector. Let's say you would like to offer your payments in Kuwaiti dinar. As we speak and we have a client even now, we would approach Tap and work directly with Tap. So really all of the payment gateways, what you see here, this is not just we take them out, because those are our partners which we work on a daily basis on our core business, which is building e-commerce websites for brands or established business. They're all very helpful. Whatever issue you will face, you can talk to them. Again, this is a trust, what we refer. I wouldn't work with a person, or I wouldn't trust a client of ours, a payment gateway which you cannot directly reach, which you cannot discuss. We had now with checkout an issue with a client in Saudi Arabia. They fixed it within, was probably 4 hours, right? Because just they have they have first the interest being in the region, second they have the support, they have the knowledge, and the partners. So let's say you work with an US company which you might not reach 2-3 days, right? Which is maybe withholding your money, you don't know why. I mean, this is all informations. If we come back to cash flow, why we would recommend them, and we work with them, so there is nothing you can actually go wrong.
Yeah, so as Nico mentioned, of course, payment gateways have their points you should consider before approaching them. Apart from what we just did to give you an idea and a highlight of each company, you should make sure that, and that's an often misconception actually, which people think you can pull off payments through PayPal or payment gateways without having a business license. So please, 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 guys, in the UAE and in most of the other countries, you need a business license to have online payment transactions. So please do not try to do it from any personal accounts, or often we get emails, I want to connect my private PayPal to my store. Do not do that. It's illegal, first of all. And secondly, you will have at some point, if you try to do that after a few days, maximum weeks, when you come to the point collecting payments, you will be stuck. You will not be able to retrieve your payments that you have done on that in that way. So please do not do that. Have a proper business license. There's different free zones. There is, of course, the DED that can guide you and help you. Get a business bank account in the UAE as well that's related to it. It kind of needs to go hand in hand. And once you have the like operational setup done in terms of setting up the actual payment gateway, it's usually between 7 to 30 working days. Some companies, like for example PayTabs, used to be very fast in onboarding. Some companies take their time. They need to do proper screenings and understanding of your business and what are the items that you're selling.
Yeah, but one point to say, let's say you're running into a deadline, or you need to be online as soon as possible, right? You could prefer and say, okay, let's see the options. Let's talk to all of them. Let's maybe opt for PayTabs, which is very, very friendly to onboard you very fast. You just have the payment gateway, you implement it, you work on that. You're not married to that payment gateway, right? Or you're not signing like a 12-month or whatever agreements. Let's say you're using multiple of them, right? Or you would like to switch from one to the other because might be service is better. Those is all what you need to come back, check your agreements, check whatever you will sign with them, and you can do so. So let's say you would like to use payment one for an amount of maybe 3 months to go online, maybe switch to another one if you got your history or your account history, order history. It all works. So this is nothing to be afraid. I mean, whatever bank you are, right, whatever bank you have chosen to be your trusted bank based on your business account, it doesn't matter, because all of those payment gateways, they work with the merchant accounts, or with like 3 banks together, which are the merchant banks, and basically they will distribute it then to XYZ bank account. So usually it doesn't matter, whatever, maybe you're in a direct bank or directly Mashreq Bank or First Abu Dhabi Bank but doesn't matter. Yeah. So they take care that they transport payment gateways, transporting the money into your account, and usually it's payout every 14 days, but it could be once a week as well. Again, this is something you need to negotiate with them because it depends on your volume. Let's say if maybe a cash flow XYZ is withheld 14 days might be critical to you. So maybe you opt for another payment gateway. But this is more business requirements, which you openly can talk to all of them. And again, this is the good point, because you can talk to them and ask those questions here. That's why we refer to those. And
and also make sure it's not like everything is written in stone, right? Payment gateways are also companies, but they have to stick to their corporate policies, and in the end it's to protect the market and to protect our region, and of course to protect themselves and you as well. So that given, in terms of transactional charges are different, monthly or security deposit. These are all the commercial terms you have to discuss with them. You should be aware that the checkout currencies, if it comes to Shopify, it's only one currency and predominantly in the UAE. If you're targeting UAE clients, you should be opting for localized currency. Why? Because let's say if you come across a website and you see it charges in British pounds, you know they're not over here. You know, returns, exchange, any sort of claims, or if the shipment is not coming for whatever reason or stuck or something, you know you won't have the quick way. You won't have anyone within your region to contact to.
Yeah, just to take one. I mean, we just got a question from somewhere that it was in regards of the setup on maybe jewelry or gold or diamond business. I mean, definitely it always depends on the nature of the business and if the payment gateway is willing to onboard that. Let's say if you find a payment gateway who would take for you a deposit, right, maybe XYZ amount, because you're selling high jewelry or whatever jewelry you might sell, because it's like a more critical item, I would say, because of the bounce backs and maybe the charges, what could be on fraud. So this is something you would need to talk to a payment gateway. We had that case once, and actually what I believe is that TAP was the one who would could basically take a higher security deposit from you, or actually a very high security deposit from you, but could make it happen. But this is all something which I cannot confirm. You would need to talk to them directly. But yes, I mean, it depends on the payment gateway to payment gateway, how it could be worked out. So that's why please feel free to talk to them and ask the right questions as well to get all of the updates.
Yep. So continuing now with deliveries and fulfillment, I think we took a lot of time on the payments, but let us know if there is anything you want us to share more than that. The actually tricky part here is as well in terms of which company, how can I connect it to my website, right? So, and again, a lot of times we get the questions that deliveries and fulfillment get mixed up with inventory management, etc. and so forth. So we're just diving into the topic. I believe we got one more question from Mohammed regarding the PayPal. Is it fully working in the UAE currently?
So if you're going back to Shopify, on Shopify, we need to have our main currency in US dollars. And if you have it in US dollars, it will work. Yes. So, but how you basically get out the money from PayPal, this is one, it was Network International. They, I think 2 years or 1.5 years ago, they started the business PayPal verification. So if you own a business PayPal account, and you're verified and you're selling your items or you receive money on that account. So what Network International did, they basically offer you the solution to directly transfer XYZ amount of money directly to your AED business account, because this before wasn't possible and you needed to work on a solution to get that money anyhow on a Visa credit card. And I mean, it was a very big headache, but Network International solved that. I believe it's almost 2 years ago. And yes, so you can reach out to Network International or go to the website. I think it's even withdrawal.paypal.ae. It's managed by Network International. Again, we as the agency, when we heard it 2 years ago, the first time, you call them, you approach them, and you get all of the information what you require. Yes, but you need to submit your trade license. You need to submit bank history. I mean, you need to be a proper business in order to opt in with them. But yes, you can get your dollars, PayPal money on your business account transferred directly to your legal bank account, which is in
company
AED.
bank account,
with actually a very interesting rate. It's not something which is very high, but you need to sign up with them. Yeah.
Cool. All right, Mohammed, I think we answered your questions here. Deliveries and fulfillment, just to give you an idea, the companies, again, in the UAE that connect to Shopify, because since we're coming from that angle, you need to know that these companies we mentioned here all have representative offices here. I believe now Mara Express is not Mara Express anymore. They're called Shipper Shop or something like that.
Yeah, they got
They
acquired,
got acquired,
from Agility. It was last year. So Mara Express, I think they're still called Mara, but they're in a rebranding stages because they, as said, they got acquired from Agility, and it's a very, very good company, to be honest. They're reaching out, or actually in the setup of every single GCC country to have their fulfillment center over there, but it just takes time. What happened is we had or Shopify, again, I'm talking about Shopify, we had that integration running between Mara Express and Shopify. But now, because they changed their core system, which is more agility focused, they're, as we speak, at the solution building a fully fledged integration, which is similar to Fetch or Aramex. If you compare that integration in Shopify, it will be done, but they just require some more time. It's purely because of internal matters, but end of the day, yes, it will be a very good solution, because they are actually building their full infrastructure in all of the GCC countries, which will make it way more easy to maybe store or stock your inventory directly in Saudi and then fulfill it from there, rather to ship it from here to Saudi, because we had clients, they were selling so much, and to be honest, they had sometimes cost of a COD order from here to Riyadh or to Jeddah. It was just insane. So I mean, everyone knows that in this industry, it's just taking time to get everything done. If we talk about, I mean, first of all of the payment gateways, what you see here, you can approach them, you can talk to them as well. And apart from Mara Express, because they changed their platform recently, all of them, they have an amazing Shopify integration. Aramex right now is working on an update of their software, so you won't find it directly in the Shopify store, but you will be able to get it directly from their IT support team. Again, it's reasons, of course, from changing their system. There's always being updates on Shopify or new updates to be done on the platform. So this is something what Aramex offers. And yeah, to be honest, Fetcher, Aramex, Poster Plus, and Mara Express, we work with them. We even refer our clients to them. It's something which you cannot go wrong, and the rates are amazing, and the integration is very solid. To be transparent, I think Fetcher and Poster Plus, they offer a very amazing integration. Aramex, yes, as well. But as I said, you shouldn't go forward only from an integration point of view, because all of them offer that, but it should be more catered to your business. You can have multiple as well, right? Let's say you would like to focus on selling globally, or let's say to Saudi Arabia on a cash on delivery. Most probably you would take Aramex. And yeah, I mean, we are not talking now about DHL or UPS or FedEx, like we're talking about only the last mile deliveries within the UAE, or which like could cater to the GCC, because this is the business where we focus on. But yeah, you could go with a DHL, UPS, or FedEx as well. It's just different on on the rates actually, and on the overall requirement of your goods.
Yeah, and the overall flow. I mean, if you can see, we mentioned e-commerce deliveries. So it's companies really focusing in the UAE to leverage on the e-commerce market, right? And on the e-commerce requirements. So obviously, if you're running or planning to run a business that is online, offline, or you're only planning an online business, so these will be your companies to go to.
Yeah, let's say it needs to be specific, because you cannot say all of those companies will cover the needs. Let's say you're selling furniture, right? Or let's say you're selling beds or whatever you might sell. Most probably all of those what you see right now, they won't do that service. So there is maybe a different service what would be specialized in that. One of them is called Yalla Pickup. It's a company, I think there are 3 years in UAE. They're exploring the opportunity of the integration with Shopify as well. They don't have a solid integration yet, but let's say if you're starting a business and you're rather looking for a very good service in actually having your e-commerce orders fulfilled in a large scale, which maybe they can support you and deliver cross-border as well. So this would be something which you would reach out. And yeah, I mean, Shopify integration, most of the companies, to be transparent, it's just picking up. Shopify is just getting bigger and more famous here as well within the last couple of years, to be honest. It's a very simple setup. So most of the companies who would like to reach out or get more a broader spectrum of clients actually start integrating to e-commerce platforms, whether it's like now a Shopify or a Magento or a PrestaShop or whatever other platform you might use right now.
All right, so there's a few ways also how you can take care of your inventory. As I mentioned, the delivering and shipping part is the end-to-end, so it's not about how you manage your inventory. There's different ways. If you have a small inventory, you can manually update it on the platform directly. A lot of people do Excel sheet syncing, and that's predominantly of businesses what we hear. They even though have maybe a system or sort of a like inventory management system or even an ERP, but if they're not functioning 100% well, still a lot goes through Excel sheets or CSV file uploads and preparing of the files, uploading the files. And of course, as much manual as these tasks are, or the more operational they get, the more we have human errors, which is just happening by nature. And we don't have a live one-to-one synchronization. If, let's say, an item gets sold in your store and you immediately mark it as sold, there's always a fractions of a minute or two or a few seconds that you delay, and it's not a real-time inventory. At some points, it might touch you, as in it's important for you. At some points in your business, especially at the beginning, it might not be relevant, but it's important to know that you can handle it in different stages.
I mean, we cover now, it's very broad, right? Because every single business and setup, it needs to be understood. That's why most of the time it's more consultancy on that. But I mean, you need to consider multiple points. Let's say you have maybe you have a small retail or a small shop somewhere and you store your full inventory directly in that store. So definitely you should have a system in place which can understand your POS, right? So whatever you sell online or whatever you sell basically offline in your retail store, it needs to synchronize in a very fast manner to your online website. If you have a dedicated warehouse, which you actually take stock aside only for your e-commerce website, it would function in a different way. Then it depends on, let's say for enterprise companies, it depends on what kind of ERP you're running on, what kind of access would you like to provide. Maybe we need to synchronize the data from certain different servers or different files. I mean, this is more specific, but let's say we're talking about, I think more the small, medium business. If you come back and you actually look for a very solid inventory management system, which is way more than only like a Shopify POS. Like we're really talking about your inventory control, internal operational flows. Deer, they have the office. They opened an office here. They do that actually. You will find them in Shopify as well. They have a 5-star rating and they're very happy to support. At the same time, we're talking about Vent. Again, this is a POS, but more retail focused on inventory management, and Deer as well. So for us, it's always very critical to understand the user or the flow, but those are the ones which most of the SME companies or startup companies would come across because it's just very fast. Let's say we haven't listed one of the inventory or like warehouse management systems here. It's more inventory management, to be honest. It's like called Unleash. It's a very good software as well. But then you would come into place to understand way more about the requirements in order to suggest. But those are the ones which definitely would cater to your needs to update basically the inventory, to run on a POS sync, to multiple sales channels. And it would bring you away from managing it only on sheets. It would rather bring you to a point which you maybe can fully fledge your operations digitally and to avoid mismatch. But again, let's say if you're performing maybe a couple of orders a day, there's nothing to worry about. I would rather focus on getting the marketing in place. So yeah, it always depends, to be honest.
All right, and last but not least, we have a an important saying, or actually a quote that His Highness Sheikh Mohammed was actually mentioning. He said, "The race for excellence has no finish line," and this is exactly how we approach our own business, how I think the UAE approaches everything they do, and it's just a vision or a motivation for you that know that everything can be up to detail and perfection, but without you actually taking an initiative, obviously by the word race, it needs to be active, it needs to be a movement, so you have to make that move. Now, that's more of an inspirational part for you. And thank you for your attention. Thank you for the questions that you had. If there's any more questions, please let us know. Follow the UAE TRA and Creative 971 in the social channels as well. In the link you're currently watching, there is in the description also the link to the video again, and as well to the assessment. I believe you will be getting an assessment. You'll be asked a couple of questions before obtaining a certificate. And I have covered so far one question that I remember that is there. So I just want to quickly recap the session in a quick summary and help you also answering the questions. We had talked about trust on websites again, and to let you know that a huge point of a website being trustable is implementing icons of collaboration partners and of possibly payment providers, show the payment gateway logos, make sure that your site is credible, especially in the payment field. That will help a lot. It just doesn't come by time, or it's not just if I write 100% trustable on my website, it's not going to be like that. So keep that in mind. And yeah, in terms of payment providers as well, they definitely would need to see if your website is compliant with the rules. They will need to see the terms and conditions and your company details. So the website compliance is very important. Think of that as well. And other than that, thank you very much for your comments, and thank you as well for the replies. Let us know if there's any more questions, because we're right here for a couple of more minutes if there would be anything.
And yeah, please sign up under the link actually under traininggovernment.de, because we will have your data and we will keep you informed about upcoming events as well, because we will have most probably and soon, most probably in April, Shopify meetup coming up. And whoever is interested to hear us or to gather a network, and we will cover more specific questions, and it will be like most probably 2 or 3 hours workshop. So please feel free. We definitely have the TRA with us as well. So
yeah, but even here, don't forget we have the coming, like we do once a month approximately a webinar. So please keep in mind any topics that you want to hear too. We are obviously recording the session, so you can replay them, go through, skip unimportant talks that we had, but anything that is important to you, you can obviously re-listen to that. So in the future as well, if there's any topic suggestions that you want, you can provide them to us. As I believe we have a few more coming in, one in February and one in March as far as scheduled. And we have the one in February, as I can remember, it's on the 27th of February, or planning to be on the 27th of February. So thank you very much again. And I see more and more thank yous, no questions. So if there's any questions, please feel free to even drop the comments or send us an email to info@creative971.com, or send us a message or the TRA a message. And as I just get aware, everything is available in the portal, and the coming sessions, obviously, you can retrieve from there as well. There's different topics as well. You have a portal like the TRA online trainings. Just make use of it. It really can help you a lot in establishing your business and building networks and building important points and questions that you have opportunities to ask, which are normally through paid channels or normally wouldn't be available to you, for example. As just know that there is a a source of information which you can always rely on. Yeah, so the link is within the description. You can find it, and if we're just going there, I believe it's training.government.ae /register. So there is a link. If you click on that, it immediately brings you to the assessment questions to obtain your certificate for those who are watching live. For those who are not watching live, you can hopefully sign up on the link and be live in one of the following sessions. And yeah, in that regards, thank you very much. And yeah, we wish you all a great day, and hopefully passing all these exams very well.
Yeah, and hopefully hear or see you again.
Yeah, hopefully see you soon. Bye.